Hello! Hi, and welcome to another episode of Better Golfer Today. I'm your host, Tyler Dice, and this episode is presented by Tyler Dice Golf. As always, I try and provide the best insights into the world of golf, whether it is tips, instructions, equipment, or anything else golf-related. This week's main topic is going to continue on with utilizing technology and having it give you a big advantage over your competition. And we're going to be focusing on approach shots this week. As always, I'll be sharing what I'm working on, and this week's tip of the week is going to also be on approach shots. So, let's get started. Alright, so main topic is going to be on utilizing technology and having it give you a big advantage over your competition, and we're going to be focusing on approach shots. The goal of this podcast is to show you the different pieces of technology available to you and to explain the different ways you can use this technology. So, again, the last podcast was on putting, and we talked about some certain pieces of tech that can help you with that. And so this we're going to be, again, going on approach shots. And so some of the technology, the machines that we're talking about will be the same, but obviously it's going to be a completely different animal. So we're going to start off with launch monitors. Now, launch monitors essentially, it's a machine that watches your club head and your golf ball and either takes a picture or it follows it through the air and it grabs a whole bunch of data and it extrapolates some more data and it shoots it out to you really fast. And so it tells you all this cool stuff about you, what you just did, whether it's like your swing and your golf ball. Whether it's those two things, or I should say, swing related, club head related, or golf ball related. It spits out a whole bunch of numbers on this. And so the better machines give you more data and more accurate data. And the cheaper machines give you less data and less accurate data. I have a machine that gives less accurate data. I have a machine that gives you very accurate data. And it's pretty glaring, the differences between the two. There is a reason one costs $500 and one costs $13,000, okay? It's because the $13,000 one, it does a really good job at giving you accurate data. So we're going to start off. The first launch monitor I'm going to talk about is a flight scope. The newest flight scope is called the X3. Flight scope is a Doppler radar and image processing machine that tracks vertical launch angle, horizontal launch angle, vertical descent angle, smash factor, spin rate, spin axis, carry distance, roll distance, total distance, lateral landing, apex height, flight time, shot dispersion, shot distance to pin, skill score, low point, club head speed, club speed profile, club acceleration profile, face to path, face to target, dynamic loft, angle of attack, club path, spin loft, swing plane horizontal, swing plane vertical. And flight scopes can be used indoors and outdoors and can accommodate several different setups inside. So there's some serious flexibility with what you can do with a flight scope indoors. So this is some pretty cool. So that's a lot of stuff, right? What does all this mean? Well, what this means is essentially you hit a shot, the flight scope's going to spit out a whole bunch of data. And there's going to be certain key pieces of data that you look at, like carry distance, like height, like spin rate, okay? Like your attack angle. These things, all right? So attack angle, also known as angle of attack. Okay, so these things are really important in determining are you doing certain things correctly. Because essentially there's like 8 things that I look at normally in my golf swing, okay? And I know that if I do those 8 things correctly, I'm going to hit a good shot. Okay? So like for me, I look at club head speed, ball speed, I look at angle of attack, I look at swing path, I look at carry distance, I look at max height, and I say spin rate and spin rate. So if I didn't say spin rate, I said it there. If I said it twice, so what? But essentially, I look at those factors. That's what I look at with my own swing, because I like to get a little too far from the inside, and I like to get it a little too steep, and those two things don't mix. Okay. If you get too steep and too far to the inside, you're going to be hitting blocks or you're going to be hitting big hooks. Don't want either of those. So yeah, no. So yeah, those are the things that I mostly look at for myself. But different people need different things to look at because yeah, whatever. But essentially, those things are kind of like the key factors to look at. Unless you're really, really looking to fine tune some data pieces or really fine tune parts of your golf swing, some of these things just aren't necessarily that important. The key is getting an accurate reading of those data points, and that's where, like I said, that's where the newest flight scope or the next machine, a Trackman, the newest Trackman, comes into play. So the newest Trackman, I believe, is called the Trackman 4. Trackman uses radar and microwaves to detect the changes in frequency on the golf club and the golf ball. Trackman tracks smash factor, spin rate, launch angle, carry, ball speed, club speed, dynamic loft, tack angle, club path, face angle, and a whole bunch more. It also allows you to connect up to 6 external cameras, including iPhones, to get more angles of your swing. Trackman has 2 machines. They have an indoor one, and they have an indoor and outdoor one. You can guess which one's more expensive. And well, the answer is both of them are really expensive, but the indoor-outdoor one is very, very expensive. About $25,000 for the indoor-outdoor one. Okay? But yeah, these 2 machines are pretty awesome, and they do some really, really cool stuff. Again, I would highly recommend both machines to anyone because so far I haven't really found any big issues. I haven't really found any issues with any of them. They do a good job of tracking everything, and I think you can get a lot of great information from both of them. So yeah, both of these machines are awesome, and they're pretty cool. And again, they use radar, and they also use algorithms. Okay, both machines use algorithms, and what they use these algorithms for, they can use them in case they don't get certain data points, or they use an algorithm to calculate certain data points for you that they just can't measure. I don't know all the little specific things that they use the algorithm for on the machines. However, I do know that both algorithms are different, which means they give you some different numbers sometimes. And so there can be some discrepancy when you use an algorithm because it may not, may give you a weird number sometimes. You may be like, where'd that number come from? These leading up to this were all good, and then that one's bad. You know, if one number on that the show of data is bad and everything else looks good, just ignore it. Like, the machines aren't perfect, okay? But they do a really, really good job at giving you a ton of great information almost all of the time. So sometimes you're just going to have to throw out a number. Not really a big deal in my eyes, but it happens. So these 2 machines are great. The next machine I'd like to talk about is by Ernest Sports. Now, Ernest Sports, they have a bunch of different machines. And they aren't as widely accepted as FlightScope or Trackman. But they are pretty good machines, and they come in at a price point considerably lower than the previous 2 machines that I mentioned. The Ernest Sports does a really, really good job indoors. It might be the best of the 3 indoors. However, I don't have any proof to back that up. That's just on reading some online forums. So, take that for what it's worth. The one thing I don't like about Ernest Sports is that you have to put these little stickers on the club face to give you accurate club data. If you don't have the stickers on the club face, you don't get the club data. Whereas the FlightScope and Trackman will still give you the data. The Ernest Sports ES16 Tour, which is their newest one, it tracks carry distance, total distance, roll distance, ball speed, lateral carry distance, lateral total distance, launch angle, launch direction angle, spin rate, spin axis, maximum height, hang time, shot dispersion, landing angle, club head speed, smash factor, angle of attack, spin lofts, face angle, club path, and dynamic loft. And it does all that for a price tag of around $4,000. So like I said, considerably lower. The only downside is that you have to put those little stickers, little reflectors on your club face, which I hate. I don't like that, especially when you go outside and you're taking divots, right? It sucks. because they get dirty and they get gunked up, and then you wipe them off by accident, and then you go apply a new sticker, and it's time consuming. I mean, I don't want to do that. Plus, you got to put them on all your clubs, and you have to take them all off your clubs when you go play golf, because having those stickers on there is a breach of the rules. At least I think it is. So anyways, yeah, you're constantly putting them on and putting them off, putting them on, putting them off, putting them on, putting them off. So if you practice 2 days a week and you want to play 4 days a week, you're putting them on, putting them off, twice. And so you're rifling through how many stickers. If you have 13 clubs you're putting stickers on, that's 26 stickers in a week. That adds up pretty quickly to how many stickers you need to have for an entire year of practicing. So, to me, big turnoff. Now, I don't know how many stickers they come with, but if they came with, say, like 10,000 stickers, I guess that's not really a huge problem. But if you're having to shell out money every time you want to go to the driving range to buy 13 stickers to put in your clubs, I'm not a fan of that. So anyways, don't like the stickers. Essentially those are your those are your 3 launch monitors. The FlightScope X3 is the newest one, the Trackman 4, and the Ernest Sports ES16. Those tend to be the 3 most popular machines that go indoor and outdoor. Again, they're not cheap. They're a little pricey. I tried out all of these this year except the FlightScope. But the Trackman 4 came out last year, and I tried it out a whole bunch last year. And I have a friend that has one as well. So I've tried out all 3 of those this year at the 2018 PGA Merchandise Show in Orlando, Florida. And so I will say, in terms of what they do a really good job. There's no smoke and mirrors here. Like they do what they say they do. So it's pretty cool stuff. You're going to get a lot of good information, a lot of good data from using these. Next up, we're going to talk about simulators. All right, so all the machines I talked about earlier work with simulators, and simulators themselves are great. Essentially, you are hitting indoors into a screen, and the machine and the computer grab your ball and club data and put it on the screen in either a driving range or course format. These are great because you can play and practice your game in literally any weather condition, any time of day. If you're a night owl, play late. If you're an early riser, play first thing. The best part about simulators is that you can play 18 holes in about an hour because you don't have to look for your golf ball. You don't have to walk and drive to it. So it's pretty darn efficient. And a lot of these simulators will work with your putting. So that in itself is pretty sweet too. All right. Next thing to talk about is swing analyzer software. FlightScope and Trackman come with their own analyzing software, and there are lots of other third-party softwares too. These are really good because they let you draw lines and slow down things, and you can really look at the finer details of your swing. So, pretty cool, right? So we talked about launch monitors, simulators, and your swing analyzing softwares. These are the 3 big areas of technology that can give you a big improvement on your approach shots. So what does this all mean? How does this give you an edge? It gives you an edge with information and efficiency. That is where this technology shines. All of these products make things more efficient and gives you a ton of information. The ability to hit a shot and know all the data about said shot can be very informative. And before you think or say, I don't need all that info, let me ask, you don't need to know how far the ball carries? You don't need to know if you're putting too much spin on the shot, costing you distance? You don't need to know if your swing path is all screwy. You don't need to know if your equipment isn't fit right for you. You don't need to know if you're hitting down on your driver with a negative attack angle. Like, why aren't these things you should know? Why are these things you don't need? If you're talking about getting better at golf and giving yourself an advantage over your other playing competitors, this is information you need. You need this information. You need to know what you do. Because simple things like, I have a tendency of hitting down on my driver. I'm usually a +1, degree attack angle. But sometimes I get to -2. Knowing what the ball flight does when you're in those 2 things can be crucial to correcting things on the golf course. Because if you hit down on your driver on the golf course or anywhere, it's going to squirt out to the right with more spin. And if you're hitting up on the ball, it's going to have a tendency to go straighter or a little bit more left with less spin. Okay? So, knowing the differences between those 2 things can be huge in your score when you're trying to struggling with your swing on the golf course. So if you pop a couple to the right, it could be your attack angle. And all things go screwy and sideways when pressure is involved in golf. Believe me, I've been there, I've watched it, I've had it happen to me. Pressure does a lot. It crumbles golfers in a hurry. I've seen very, very good players shoot incredibly high scores when a little bit of pressure was added to their games. Okay, it's not pretty, it's not fun to watch, it happens. But by knowing your numbers, I see it less and less and less. You're not seeing quality players blow up on the golf course as much anymore. It's because they have a greater understanding of what they do, because they have all the data to support all the different things that they do. Data is a big deal. Every once in a while, you'll see a guy blow up. Okay, it happened recently at the Houston Open in 2018. Greg Chalmers, who was only a few shots back in the lead going into Sunday, shot a final round 81. If you've seen him play, you would say, I'm not surprised, because he's all over the map some days. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but what I am saying, it doesn't happen as often as it used to. It's very, very difficult for a player to sleep on the lead and come out and do well on Sunday. But because guys, have this information, they know their tendencies so well, and they have the data to back up their tendencies, they don't think they know them, they know them. They can make more specific changes in the golf course, can rebound faster, and can play good golf without their A games. Okay, you're going to see more and more of this moving forward. So knowing the right technology and having the right technology and knowing the right information goes a long way to helping you play better golf more consistently. All right, so the nice thing is more and more golf facilities are getting these machines and are renting time on them. Okay, launch monitors are huge. Like I said earlier, knowing is knowing, and having the information is an advantage. And so the more information you can gather about yourself, the better off you can be. Every single tour pro uses one of these machines. Every single one. In fact, most of your elite players nowadays are getting simulators and launch monitors put into their house because they want to be able to practice any time of the day, and they don't want weather determining when they can practice. If they want to hit golf balls at 9:30 at night, they can do that. That means they can do stuff with their kids all day and then get 2 hours of practice in at night in their simulator room. They don't have to take a day off. It's incredibly convenient. All right, so it means that you can still get full practice days in without leaving your house and getting to spend time with your family. It's pretty awesome. That's why all these club pros are doing it. Or I'm sorry, not club pros. All these touring pros are doing it. They're all taking advantage of it. They're all getting these things installed into their houses. They're all taking these machines to the driving range with them when they practice. They're all taking these machines to the golf course with them when they're hitting shots. Okay, they're all doing it. This is one of the biggest reasons why golfers are having a big boost in their playability in these last few years. They're getting all this data. They're getting all this information, and they're being able to fine-tune all their equipment constantly to their games. So anytime something changes in their golf swing, they're working on something to get a little bit better of a attack angle. They can fine-tune their equipment in a day. And they can do it at home. They don't have to go to the big facilities in California like they all used to, okay? They can fine-tune in their garage or in their basement, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so there's a lot of big advantages to using this stuff, like club fitting, like dialing in your yardages, understanding your abilities and capabilities, knowing how much curve the shots have. Knowledge is power in golf. The more efficient practice time, more enjoyable practice time. It's a lot of fun getting all this information on the practice tee. I'm not gonna lie, I love getting it. Maybe you're not. Maybe some people aren't into it as much as I am. I love getting this information, and I love getting the specific information that matters most to me. I don't necessarily need all the information all the time, but I love getting the important information that matters most to me. It's pretty cool. And again, like I said earlier, the simulators have an incredible advantage, or give you an incredible advantage over your competition. The ability to never have to take a day off is awesome. The ability to be able to hit golf balls in the middle of the night, or in a thunderstorm, or during a blizzard is an amazing feat. Like this wasn't something that existed a couple years ago, or at least it didn't exist in the nature that it exists now. The data that these machines get you is so good. It translates directly to the golf course. It's not something that like, oh, the launch monitors and the turf that they had 10 years ago gave, it did. It's a fact. You got wonky numbers. You didn't get something that was exactly like it was outside. Now we're getting really, really close to that information. So whatever you hit the ball inside, it's going outside when you have the best equipment. So it's pretty cool. And so that's about all I have for you on today's main topic. I'm trying to go through my head real quick, see if I missed anything. I don't think I did. But these machines are pretty cool. And if you have one or you have access to one, you definitely have a leg up on your competition, especially if you have a regular access to one. Right now with me, having one, it's pretty incredible the amount of data you can get. Because right now I'm having a little bit of an issue with my driver. My club head speed's fine, my ball speed's fine, my smash factor's fine, my tack angle's fine, my spin rate's fine, my height is fine, my ball shape is fine, my carry distance is atrocious. According to the Flight Scope's optimizer, my golf ball should be going roughly 40 yards farther in the air than it is. Yeah, so my numbers are really wonky. So I'll be doing some work later on. It's not what I'm working on right now, but later on I'm going to be getting some pretty cool. I'm getting some a new fitting for a new driver to figure out like what's going on. Because every once in a while, well, I shouldn't say every once in a while. Eventually, the equipment that you have will become obsolete. And depending on how much you practice and how much you're working on your game will determine how soon that equipment becomes obsolete. And so right now my driver is obsolete. It's just not working for me. Whether it's the shaft, whether it's the head, whether it's the shaft head combo, it doesn't matter. It's not working for me. It's not giving me the numbers that I need. Yeah, I can hit the ball straight all day, but it's not going anywhere. And so I'm leaving a lot of yardage on the table. It's hurting my game. It sucks. So anyways, this kind of information can expose some flaws in your game in a hurry, but it can help you get better even faster. So let's move on to what I'm working on. I'm currently working on dialing in my yardages with my clock system and with my irons and woods. I'm trying to take out more of the guesswork from my game, and I want to build a better foundation for the rest of my game. Since having my daughter, I don't have as much time to practice as I would like to, and I need to be more efficient. So that is why I'm building a stronger and bigger foundation. Notice I said stronger and bigger foundation. The stronger and bigger your foundation is, the more stuff you can build upon it. So I'm spending my time doing working fundamentals and building the solid building blocks of a golf game again. Okay, I'm going back to the basics and I'm building from the ground up. I think this is a great way to start every year. I know Jack Nicklaus did the same thing with his instructor, and so I am doing the exact same thing. So that's what I'm currently working on. All right, now this week's tip of the week is on approach shots. Knowing your numbers goes a long way to helping you maximize your efficiency on your approach shots. Parameters like spin rate, launch angle, max height, and distance. Knowing what you can max out at and what your averages are can have a really big impact on your scores. Notice what I said, max out at, and what your averages are. Those are two different numbers. All the data that I'm collecting right now, it goes into a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet has an average number, it has a high number, and it has my low number. So I know the exact range that my golf ball flies for each and every club in my bag. I don't have it memorized yet, but it's on my phone, and when I'm out there doing my practice, when I'm out there playing golf and I'm practicing or whatever, I reference the spreadsheet on my phone, and it's fine. It works pretty good. And I know it's not going to work out when I get into tournaments golf, but for right now it works fine. I'll print it out and I'll have it in my bag. So that's this week's tip of the week, and that means that's all I have for you. Again, appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned because the next episode is going to be continuing on with this theme, and it's going to be on tee shots. So I got more great information for you coming. Again, I really enjoyed putting this together, and I hope y'all like listening to it. So stay tuned for the next episode.